is going on, good and wonderful people? We are doing another video with the new format, and this time we're going to be talking about the Vegas Golden Knights projected lineup for opening night for the NHL. Nothing's been official yet, still some moves that could be made, but let's talk about Vegas. So, Vegas lost a good chunk of depth this offseason and some part of the core, and so far, the projected lineup is supposed to be Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, Victor Overson, Paul Define, Thomas Hertl at second line center, and Mark Stone on the right wing. William Karlsson, third line center. Nick Wisloff, fourth line center, with Keegan Kolesar right wing and Brent Howd, and Brandon Brishon and Alexander Holtz. I'm looking at my notes right now. Defense, Noah Halfin, who was re-signed after he was traded to Vegas with Alex Pietrangelo. And the second line is two original Golden Knights misfits. As a matter of fact, there's only 3 Golden Knights misfits left. William Karlsson, Braden McNabb, and Chase Theodore. And the third pairing, Nicholas Hughes and Zach Whitecloud. And for goalies, Aiden Hill, after taking over for the main starter role for the foreseeable future after Logan Thompson has been traded to the Washington Capitals. And Ivan Samsonov. So it's going to be a very different Golden Knights team going into the 2024-2025 season. So let's take a look at their stats of this year. So Jack Eichel, who's projected to be the leading scorer, I really think he will. I think he's going to play a full 82 games this year. And he had 31 goals, 37 assists, and 68 points. I predict Eichel will get 80 and 40 goals. William Karlsson was not the leading scorer, but this is just showing the players that are still on the team. But anyway, Mark Stone was out with injuries and a back injury, which placed him on long-term injury, in which Vegas has been dealing with that for the last few seasons. But hey, it helps them, I guess. But Mark Stone only played 56 games, 16 goals, and got 53 points. And Mark Stone is... Let's see how old Stone is. 6'3". Yeah. Where's his birthday? Yeah, he's 32, and injuries do not help when you're getting older as an NHL player, as you're entering your final years of your prime and your good years. Yeah, Stone is 32, and injuries does not help his game, but when he's healthy, he can really do damage, and that's why they traded for him back then, and Vegas won that trade. We got the cup in the end. Damn fly. And the players that are going to hurt the most for Vegas leaving is Marchessault, because he had a 42-goal season. Tied it with William Karlsson for most goals by a single Golden Knight in their history. And he's with the Nashville Predators now. So it's going to hurt Uzi Marchessault because he was really good on the power play. He was a really good passer. He had good leadership in the team, and he had 42 goals, 27 assists in 82 games and for 69 points, and the most in his career. And it really sucked we were unable to, but maybe this might work out for us. Maybe Marchessault reaches the decline since he's 33, and he's probably got maybe 1 or 2 more good years left and 1 more year of his prime. Cap hell really did affect Vegas, and losing some depth is definitely going to hurt Vegas. and it's really not a good thing to lose players, but that hockey's a business. They got leadership with veterans like Alex Petrangelo. They got players like Thomas Hurdle, who they traded for, and San Jose retained salary. Hurdle played pretty good, well, decent, I guess. But let's see how he does with a full season with the Vegas Golden Knights. He got 2 goals and 2 assists and only 4 points. I think he got hurt, if I'm correct. Vegas traded for him because they wanted to go all in, and he's 30 years old, so he's still got quite a bit of good years left in his prime. And they got depth players like Brent Howe and other young pieces, but is it going to be enough for the depth replacement of the veterans they lost? Goalies last year, Aiden Hill was showing that it wasn't a fluke, that he can be a decent starter, which when Hill came in, I thought he was just a third pair goaltender, or after that playoff was a decent backup. But Hill was showing that it wasn't a fluke, and now he has the number one star position. And let's get back to the players. They got players from the Cup run like Keegan, Nicholas Raw, but they got some young players that are going to be coming in and battling for third, fourth line spots. And if they do make it, will show like if Vegas has been developing some prospects well, since they've been going all in every year trying to win a cup. Which at this point, like I think they're going to keep going all in until they have nothing left to trade for, and their players, their core, are older, and it's going to be interesting for Vegas this year because losing Marcia, so you do lose a really good goal scorer, and well, they got Eichel, who's young in his prime, and you got Stone, Carlson, but will Carlson put up 30 goals again? Does his stats decrease now that he's lost to Marchessault, who was a good help with him when they did play together? At this point in his career, William Karlsson is he's a third line centerman. As much as I want him to be on the first line, what works is works. Bruce Cassidy knows what he's doing. So I trust Bruce Cassidy to do his job. Like, we're just fans after all. Let me just check who else they lost. They also lost Chandler Stevenson in the second line centerman, but Thomas Hurdle is an upgrade. But Chandler Stevenson was a fan favorite, and he did play really good. In Washington, he was a fourth liner. And it was a really good job he did, Chandler Stevenson. Like so yeah, losing Chandler Stevenson's gonna hurt. Losing Marchessault will hurt if scoring goes down. So it will be interesting. Like, who else they lost? Yeah, some rentals they lost, but it's gonna be interesting. GM is still Kelly McGrawan, so yeah. I keep saying yeah, Watt for some reason, but for the Golden Knights, I think this will be their weakest they've ever looked, and if they get off to a slow start, expect changes to be made. obviously, because they're gonna want to keep contending for a cup as long as they can, and they'll most likely trade first round picks and assets and who they got in the draft this year, most likely. But when I look at the roster, like I already can see Eichel doing really well, and but they're not play. Jack Eichel's pretty much the only like young one besides like for forwards and in the top six, and Vegas does have depth problems. Like, are kids going to be able to produce? Because you lose really good fourth liners, like really good, like William Carrier, who was a good physical guy, and he would also step up at the right time when Vegas Golden Knights needed. And we saw it in a little bit in the 2023 season when he would score in the playoffs. So like Carrier was a guy that like for depth piece like that really came in handy. And so yeah, like Vegas is not a team full of young guys like in their prime. They got players that were really good with, in their young days, and they're good veterans and still can do it. But eventually, those players are going to keep getting older and older. And like Petrangelo, like Stone, William Carlson. William Carlson is a good one to watch. Who he's going to have for line mates, and especially on, he's most likely on the. I can see him being on the power play for if Bruce Cassidy decides to put him on the first power play. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. The fourth line I think will be fine, but losing Carrier does hurt. So it's going to be interesting. And for backup Samsonov, Vegas picked up Samsonov, and he had a great, decent time with I would say with Toronto. Like he won them a playoff series, but Samsonov he was projected to be Washington's future goaltender, but that never worked out, and now he's with us. So goaltending is going to be interesting to watch. Like if Hill can stay really well, and like let's look at Samsonov's stats the last few years. 2022 series his first year with Washington, he gets 27 wins, 10 losses. 2024 wins go down and only has, but he's kind of injured and misses some games. But Samsonov was supposed to be a good goaltender for Washington. I don't know if he was supposed to be top, like if he was supposed to be top, like anything, but he was supposed to be next for Washington, but that never worked out. And at this point in his career, he's a backup goaltender. And it will be interesting if he can have a hot run and possibly take over as starter, but we'll see what happens. And for stuff, so yeah, those are projected lineups, and you do have chemistry with players that were for around a long time and players that did win you championships, but eventually you gotta change up. So, like, especially after Vegas was defending Cup champions for 2023, and they lost in the first round in 7 games to the Dallas Stars, which would go on to lose to the Edmonton Oilers. And Oilers would go on to the Western Conference. past the Western Conference final for the first time in the McDavid era and losing 7 games to the Florida Panthers. So with players getting older, losing Marchessault might hurt, and some grit, and mostly having some young kids coming in. This does look like a weaker Vegas team. Are they playoff contenders? I would say yes, but are they like juggernaut contenders? I would say right now, no, I wouldn't. And this is coming from a huge Golden Knights fan. I believe they can still do it, but it's going to be tough. Like, if they're off to a slow start, expect Cali to make changes and trade some players to get some younger pieces. And if they miss the playoffs or don't make it to the finals, expect a retool. Not like a rebuild, but a retool. So anyway, that's the end of the video. How do you think Vegas is going to do this year? Are they cup contenders? What would you say? I would love to read it.